Hello, welcome back. We are in Chapter 11, Multi-Step Equations and Inequalities, and we are focusing on Lesson 5, Solving Inequalities by Adding or Subtracting. So for these problems, this is the guided practice. So we did some couple of examples in this lesson so far. I want you to just go ahead and start trying to solve these problems. So I'm going to have you start off with 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now it says solve, then match each solution set with its graph. So here are the graphs over here, A, B, C, D. So you're going to solve all these problems. You're going to show all your wonderful, magnificent work. And then you're going to find the graph over here and then write the letter right here, whether it's A, B, C, D, or whatever it is that corresponds to the solution. So go ahead and get started. I want you to go ahead and pause, work these problems out, and when you get done, press play, and we will go over the answers in a little bit. All right, see you in a bit. See you in a bit. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and see how you did. So we are trying to figure out what R is. So we are going to do the inverse. We got to get R by itself. Right now it's not by itself. There's this -1 over here. So we're going to do the inverse operation, which would be adding 1 to both sides. So that's going to leave us with, that's going to cancel, where R greater than 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay? So R is greater than 3. So we know that we're going to have, it's going to be at 3. Well, they're all at 3. Okay, awesome. Oh, those are the same thing. That's probably something wrong there. Anyways, R is greater than, so it's going to be an open circle. The only open circle is right here, and that is less than 3. So let's just go ahead. These two are the same thing, and I think that there's a misprint, and they shouldn't be. So let's just make this one an open circle and go that way. Okay, so we're just making that adjustment, and we're going to call that B. Okay, let's go down to problem number 2. Okay, so problem number 2, let's see. We're trying to figure out what M is. So we have to get M by itself on this side of the inequality. At this moment, it's not by itself, so we have to get rid of this +3. The inverse of a +3 would be a -3 to both sides. That cancels. We're left with M is less than or equal to 6 minus 3 is 3. So now we have M is less than or equal to 3. So this is going to be a closed circle. It's going to be at 3. So it's going to be one of these two. It's either going to be C or D. And M is less than 3. So the numbers that are less than 3 would be this way. So this would be C. So if you got that one right, great job. Okay, let's go on to problem number 3. We're trying to figure out what X is. We got to get X by itself. At the moment, it is not by itself. There's this -4 over here on this side of the inequality. So we have to do the inverse operation, which would be adding 4 to both sides. So those cancel out. We're left with X is less than -1 plus 4. This is a negative. This is a positive. The signs are different. We take the difference. So we're going to take the difference between 4 and 1, which is 3. And then we need to determine, is it going to be a positive or a -3? We look at the 4, we look at the 1, which number is bigger? 4 is bigger, 4 is positive, so we know that 3 is positive, and we don't need to write a plus sign because it's understood that when you just write the number 3, it's positive. Okay, cool. So we need to go ahead and find the graph. So X is less than 3. Let's go up here. We know that this is going to be an open circle, and really, this is the only open circle, and this is less than 3, which is what this solution is referring to. So this would be A. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go down here and finish 4. Okay, we're trying to get K by itself. And right now, K is not by itself on this side of the inequality. There's this +2. So we have to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. We're going to subtract 2 to both sides. Those cancel out and become 0. We have K is greater than or equal to 5 minus 2, which is 3. So we're going to graph it. This is going to be a closed circle, and the solution sets are going to be bigger than 3. So up here, these are the closed circles. So right here is a closed circle, and these are the solutions that are bigger than 3. So that means our graph is going to be D. So if you got all those right, great job, and let's move on to the next problems. So for these, I want you to just go ahead and try them out. You can start 5, 6, 7. You can press pause and play however you would like. So go ahead and pause, and when you come back, I'll go over the answers of all these problems. All right, go ahead and work them out. Good luck. You can do it. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and see how you did. So we are solving to get a by itself on this side of the inequality. At this moment, it is not. There's a positive 7, so we have to do the inverse operation, and we have to subtract 7 to both sides of the inequality. That cancels out and becomes 0. We're left with a is greater than 2 minus 7. 2 is positive, 7 is negative. That means the signs are different. We take the difference, and the difference between 7 and 2 is 5, but we need to figure out, is it a positive 5 or a negative 5? So we look at the numbers 2 and 7. 7 is bigger, 7 is negative. That means our answer is a negative 5. So that is our solution there for problem number 5. Okay, let's go on to problem number 6. So 6, we're trying to isolate h and get h by itself. And so h is not by itself. There is a negative 9 over here, or minus 9. They're subtracted by 9. So we're going to do the inverse operation, which would be addition to both sides. This negative 9 and that positive 9 cancel each other out. We're left with h is less than or equal to 3 plus 9, which is 12. So that's the answer. If you got that one right, great job. Okay, on to problem 7. We have v minus 8 is less than negative 16. So we're trying to isolate v. Right now, v is not by itself. So we need to get rid of this negative 8 by doing the inverse operation, which would be adding 8 to both sides. Negative 8 and positive 8 cancel each other out. We're left with v is less than negative 16 plus 8. So we have a negative and we have a positive, which means the signs are different. We take the difference. So we're going to take the difference between these two numbers. The difference between 16 and 8 is actually 8. And then we need to determine if it's a positive 8 or a negative 8. So we look at which number is bigger, 16 or 8. And 16 is a bigger number if we're not paying attention to the positives and negatives. So 16 is bigger, 16 is negative, so that means our answer is negative. So v is less than negative 8. That is the solution. So if you got that one right, great job. Okay, let's go over here to 8. Problem 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so over here we're trying to get y by itself. At this moment, it is not by itself on the inequality. There's this 14. The 14 is related to y through addition. We need to do it, and it's positive, so we need to do the inverse, which would be a negative 14, to both sides, because we're really trying to make this become 0. And positive 14 and a negative 14 equals 0. So we're left with y is greater than negative 7 minus 14. This is negative and this is negative. Whenever you have two things that you're adding together that have the same sign, you keep the sign and just go 14 plus 7. Well, I'm going to do that off to the side. 14 plus 7. 7 plus 4 is 11. I write the 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that means our answer is going to be a negative 21. So if you got that one right, great job. On to problem number 9. So we have j minus 17 is greater than or equal to negative 8. So we're trying to isolate j and get it on this side of the inequality by itself. Well, at this moment, it's not. There's this negative 17 over here. So we have to do the inverse, which would be a positive 17 to both sides. Those cancel. We're left with j is greater than or equal to 17. We have a negative 8 plus 17. So this is negative and this is positive. The signs are different. You take the difference. So we're going to take the difference between 17 and 8, which ends up being 9. Okay, and we just need to figure out if it's positive or negative. So to do that, we look at 17, we look at 8. 17 is a bigger number, 17 is positive. That means our answer is positive. So we have j is greater than or equal to 9. That's the answer. All right, cool. If you got that right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, on to problem 10. We're trying to figure out what t is. So we need to get t by itself on this side of the inequality. It is not by itself. There's this positive 25 over here, plus 25. So we have to do the inverse operation of addition, which would be subtraction. We're subtracting 25 to both sides. And what happens is this positive 25 and that negative 25 end up canceling each other out. We're left with t is less than or equal to 9 minus 25. 9 is positive, 25 is negative. The signs are different. You take the difference. So we're going to take the difference between 25 and 9. The 5 is not big enough, so I need to borrow from this 2, making that a 1. 15 minus 9 would be 6, and then I drop down that 1, which is 16. Now I just need to determine if 16 is positive or negative. So I look at 9, I look at 25. Which one's bigger? 25 is bigger, 25 is negative. So my answer is negative. So t is less than or equal to negative 16. All right, on to number 11. Okay, we are trying to figure out what w is. So that means we need to get it by itself on this side of the inequality. Right now it is not. There's this plus 23 over here. So we need to do the inverse operation, which would be to subtract both sides by 23. Those cancel. We're left with w is less than. We have negative 35 minus 23. So this is a negative, this is a negative. We're adding to these two negatives together. So we know that the sign is going to be negative, and then we just need to go over here and add those two numbers together and see what we get. 5 plus 3 is 8. 3 plus 2 is 5. So our answer is negative 58. So w is less than negative 58. So if you got that one right, great job. Okay, on to problem number 12. We're trying to get f by itself and figure out what that is. So I have my inequality. F is not by itself. There's this positive 39 over here. So we need to do the inverse operation of a positive 39, which would be a negative 39, to both sides. Positive 39, negative 39, those cancel out and become 0, and therefore now we have f by itself on this side of the inequality, which is exactly what we want. Okay, now we're doing 11 minus 39. So 11 is positive, 39 is negative. So the signs are different. You take the difference. And so I'm going to take the difference of the two. I'm going to put the bigger number on top, ignoring the signs at this point. So 39 and 11, I'm taking the difference between those two. 9 minus 1 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have 28, but I need to determine, is 28 positive or is it negative? I'm looking at the numbers 39 and 11 regardless of their signs. 39 is bigger, 39 is negative, so I know that my answer is going to be negative. Okay, if you got that one right, perfect. On to 13. 13, 13, 13. We are trying to figure out what b is, so we're going to get b by itself. Right now, b is not by itself, so we need to get rid of this 54. 54 is related to b through addition, so we need to do the inverse of 54, and it's positive, so it means that we would do negative because we're really trying to get this to equal 0. 54 minus 54 is 0, and now we have b by itself, which is what we want. But we have to do it to both sides. So negative 54 over here. Those cancel. We have b is less than or equal to 45 minus 54. 45 is a positive, 54 is a negative. The signs are different, so we're going to take the difference. I'm not going to pay attention to the signs when I'm finding the difference. I'm just going to put the bigger number on top. 54 and minus 45. The 4 is not big enough, so I need to borrow from this 5, making that a 4, and this a 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. 4 minus 4 is 0. So our answer is 9, but I need to figure out if it's a positive 9 or a negative 9. So here I look at the numbers independent of the signs, and 54 is a bigger number and 54 is negative, so that means that my answer is negative. And boom, there we have it. Our answer right there. So if you got all those right, great job. Okay, let's go ahead and work on 14 together. It's a story problem, an inequality story problem. And let's see how this goes. Okay, so Friday's high temperature was 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That is not that high. Saturday's high temperature was forecast to be no more than 8 degrees warmer than Friday's high temperature. according to the forecast, what are the possible high temperatures for Saturday? Okay, I'm going to read this again. Friday's high temperature was 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Saturday's high temperature was forecasted to be no more than 8 degrees warmer than Friday's high temperature. According to the forecast, what are the possible high temperatures for Saturday? Okay, first let's figure out, well, what's the thing we don't know? And the thing we don't know would be the possible high temperatures for Saturday. So let's let that be our variable. So let's say let x equal possible high temperatures for Saturday. Okay? All right, so we need to go ahead and set up this inequality. So Friday's temperature was 20 degrees. Saturday's high temperature was forecasted to be no more than 8 degrees warmer than Friday's high temperature. Saturday's high temperature was forecasted to be no more than 8 degrees warmer than Friday's temperature. So what I see right here is I see Saturday, this is our equation, this sentence right here. This is our equation, our inequality. This is the sentence that's going to tell us our inequality sentence. So Saturday's high temperature was. Whenever you see was, you know that is going to be your equal sign or your inequality sign. Okay, so before that we have Saturday's high temperature. And what that is x. Okay? Now was, I'm just going to put a circle for that one because we're going to fill it in. Usually if you're dealing with an equation, that's where the equal sign would be. But for this, we're dealing with an inequality, and so I'm just going to leave it as a circle, and then we'll fill that part in. So Saturday's high temperature was forecast to be no more than 8 degrees warmer than Friday's temperature. So no more than 8 degrees warmer than. So warmer than is kind of like more than. So it's going to be plus and then flip. So we have plus, we're going to flip the 8 to the back, and then Friday's temperature is going to flip to the front of warmer than, which would be 20. So 20 plus 8. So that's going to be that side. Now this is Saturday. Now Saturday can be it says no more than 8 degrees warmer than. So that means that this has to be less than this. Now can it equal it? No more than. So it can equal. So this would be x is less than or equal to 20 plus 8. That's how we would set up that inequality. So x is less than or equal to 20 plus 8. We would simplify that. So it would be x would be less than, add those 28. So that would be our answer. So the possible temperature, the high temperatures for Saturday would be less than or equal to 28 degrees. All right? Perfect. Okay, we will see you next time. Bye-bye.